Yeehaw, soldiers, this is United States Country video, and this is What If Deku Had Gambit's Powers Part 4. So, it's been a while since I unveiled one of my more popular what ifs on this channel, but you guys get to get this what if once in a while, and I think now's the right time to get it to you guys, so that's pretty cool. So, I guess a couple things first. First off, I'm going to put a like goal on this one, which can unlock some awesome perks, such as Kakashi what if next week, this what if next week, along with Kushina Makoto, and the two what ifs I talked about in my last episode of What If Kakashi Adopted Naruto Part 7, and that would happen to be the Piccolo Had Sunshine what if and Tenseigan Naruto what if. So, that should be pretty lit. I think you guys will really like the Tenseigan Naruto one, because, by the way, you guys really want Tenseigan Naruto. It was like 95 to 4% in the poll, which is also weird of why it's like that ratio. Something I have to figure out a little bit later, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, why don't we get right into this what if right away? So, as we get into this series, as we get deeper into the series, I want to eventually incorporate Gambit's Death Seed powers, and that's pretty cool. So, also, if you haven't seen this what if at all, go to the playlist, and if you haven't seen the most recent episode, I would suggest clicking part 3 down in the description below. Let's begin. So, Deku is not as nervous as he was in the canon version. I think in any situation, you would be nervous on your first day of school, like that's logical, but in this version of events, Deku is probably more so calm than nervous. There's just a little bit of nervousness, but there's not as much nervousness as in the original canon version. So that's pretty cool, because Deku's a lot more confident. He has a quirk. He has a lot of stuff. That's pretty cool. So that's pretty nice. Inko says goodbye. This is Prime Inko, by the way. Prime Inko form. We want that Prime Inko, baby. And then we've got Deku going all the way to school. He then sees Bakugo and Ida fighting with each other, and he's like, yikes, he's causing issues again. But then Ida takes a bit of a moment to thank Deku and actually praise Deku, because he figured out the true meaning of the test, and he actually defeated the 0 pointer with pretty much relative ease, and that's a pretty good accomplishment for Deku at that point in time. So, and Ida respects him at this point in time, and this is where the friendship still happens, like in canon. There's just a lot more respect. Ochako then comes up, and then she kind of wants to thank Deku for saving her from the 0 pointer. Ochako then says, thank you, Deku. Actually, that's your name, right? Or it's actually more so Izuku Midoriya. Where'd you hear that? Well, someone named Bakugo was kind of muttering about it in the hall, and then Izuku's like, crap, yes, that's him, of course. And then, of course, Ochako is like, and then she's like thinking to herself about what she wants to say to him, because he's kind of a good-looking dude at this point in time. And then Deku then sees Momo, and then they both engage in a bit of a conversation. Ochako gets a little bit jealous at this point in time. It's like she has a bit of an attraction to him, but she doesn't know it, but she knows that there's something about that relationship going on. So they both have a talk. Momo is having and Deku are having a nice conversation with each other, and it's going back and forth. Deku's just thinking, okay, I got to go ask her on a date at some point in time. But then as the conversation is going on, Aizawa, does his thing. He complains as usual, and then we're gonna get all the way up into the quirk apprehension test arc. Bakugo has changed a little bit from his original personality in the canon version, but unfortunately he hasn't changed enough. So guess what? He's still going to throw the ball toss, and then everyone is going to be like, this should be pretty fun, which will probably put Aizawa in a position of putting stakes on the line, which means we're still going to have someone get expelled here. Or will we? So, let's go over the first test. We got the 50-meter dash. Everyone does relatively the same. Bakugo does get a score of 3.77 seconds, due to the fact that my boy Bakugo has been training for around 10 months with Deku, or Izuku Midoriya, and since he's been training with a pretty powerful force, and he's gotten a lot stronger because of that, I would say that he gets a bit of a faster score here, by around 0.3 seconds. So that's pretty cool for my boy Bakugo. But how does Deku do? Well, he does get a higher score than Bakugo and even Ida by cheating. What do I mean by cheating? So Deku charges up his bow staff. He literally just uses it to leap over the 50 meter, like 45 meters, runs the remaining couple meters, and actually ends up getting a score of around 2.67 seconds on the 50-meter dash. So he actually gets the highest score, but he's not necessarily that fast. He just found a way to cheat. You know what I'm saying? So, that's pretty cool. Then let's go to the grip strength test. My boy Shoji's gonna do around the same, but Deku gets around a score of like 200. He's around superhuman, peak human condition. He's not superhuman, but he's at peak human condition, so he should be around again like the 200, 150 to 200 range. Oh, let's give him 200 here in terms of grip strength. Third test we saw in the virtual anime and even the manga. We have a little bit of sandbox tests for the sustained long jump, and Deku actually does pretty well here. He actually clears it this time. So, and I guess those were the only requirements. He can just like charge up his bow staff and just jump over it, and he does pretty well here. And then we got the repeated side steps, which we only saw Mineta do, and he cheated. But I think Deku would do decently here because he's kind of agile, because again, his quirk. Then we got the ball throw. Deku just launches the softball off like a baseball, just like hits his bow like a baseball bat, and gets around 800 meters. Bakugo in this time I'm gonna get around to 750 meters because again he's been training with Deku for quite a bit of time. So I have to assume that his explosions have gone a bit more. How would I say this? Explosive, is that a word? But he would get a higher score than the original canon version. And then we got Ochako win her stupid infinity, which, that's fine. Everyone else probably does around the same, even though we only saw like 3 people do it. And then we got the rain free test, which was the long distance run, the see toe touch, and good old sit-ups. Yeah, we remember those steps. Remember gym class? So Deku in this timeline would do well in all of them. He's in peak human condition, and he's pretty strong in this. He's a bit strong. He doesn't have like super strength. That doesn't come into like the Death powers where he gets around unbelievable supernatural strength. But Deku in this version is pretty strong. Now, how would the test results go? Well, first off, Izuku gets first, not Momo this time. She gets bumped down to second. It wasn't as explained in detail how Momo got first, but then again, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense because Momo does have a creation quirk, and she probably found some different ways around it. Jeez, I wonder how much fat she stored in her system to actually do all that. Oh well. So Momo, he does get bumped down to second, but I have something good for Bakugo here. My boy Bakugo gets third place, so he's above Shoto Todoroki. So this puts a bit of alarm bells on who Bakugo and Deku are in Todoroki's mind. He has a bit of more respect for them because they are actually shown to be better than him. Or which versus like the original version where Bakugo would have been a considered viable threat, but he was a little bit behind him, so you could tell that Todoroki definitely had a bit of a step above everyone at that point in time. But in this version, it's now both Deku and Bakugo. So the fact is that both of them are pretty fearsome, and Shoto Todoroki wants to keep an eye on both of them at this point in time, especially since they all came in front of him. So, and even a little bit of Momo too. So then Deku would not be last like in canon. So who gets last? Who would get the boot here? Well, it's good old Mineta. But I have a bit of contingency here. I don't think I have any plans to expel him because it would just make the class uneven. You know what I'm saying? It would just make it really uneven. And we don't want an uneven class. That doesn't make sense. So I have a bit of a question for you guys. Do you want me to grab a transfer from class 1B, or do you want Mineta to be expelled? It's going to be up in a poll in the iCard, so I would recommend you click that. So that would be pretty cool. And I guess to move on to later on in the day, Bakugo is just probably like sulking that he's behind Izuku, but he's pretty proud of himself that he's in like at least top 3, but he's still kind of hungry. And then, but Deku just approaches Momo. They've had a bit of conversation throughout the day, and then Deku decides, okay, I'm gonna make a move. So Deku approaches Momo and he asks her, so are you going to do anything this weekend? Asks Deku, and Momo then says, nothing really. What are you trying to ask? As she gets as she kind of raises an eyebrow and a bit of a grin. So, would you like to go out on a date? Says Deku. And then Momo's kind of shocked that he's actually being very upfront about this. But then again, my boy's a bit of a lazy man. And I think Momo would be like, really? A date? And then says Momo, and Deku then is like, yeah. And then Momo then says, I don't know. As she's kind of grinning a little bit. And then Deku's like, is it a yes or no question? As he kind of turns to grin. You know what? Why not? Says Momo. And Deku's like pretty happy inside, but he's like, cool, I'll see you on Saturday. And then Momo then says, sure. So they both are about to part ways. Momo then decides to stop, and then she goes up and kisses Deku on the cheek. And yeah, Deku kind of blushed a little bit, and then Momo then says, see you later, tiger. So Deku is kind of pretty happy with himself. So that's a pretty nice interaction. It's kind of sweet. It's a good date setup right at that point in time. And I kind of like the relationship I'm kind of developing at the moment. So yeah. Alright, let's move on to a little bit of the battle simulation test. All Might appears as usual. I am here standing in the doorway, whatever it was, and my boy All Might then takes him out, and he is about explaining the rules of the battle simulation arc and battle simulation tests and stuff like that. So All Might would then pair up people into teams, and for this one, it's gonna be my boy Deku and Momo. Now you're probably wondering, wait, why are you not pairing him up with Ochako? I think it makes more sense to pair up the character I'm shipping Deku with in the story with, well, yeah, it's better to pair both Momo and Deku up so I can at least establish more chemistry between the two and how they would actually work in more of a real-life combat couple situation. Also, I think it would work out into pretty good teams, so that'd be pretty cool. Ida still gets paired up with Bakugo, and I believe it was Suyu and Ochako in the pairing, which actually would be pretty interesting. So, or correct me if I'm wrong, if in the unlike the original canon versions, I could cover how that would go a little bit in the next part. And so Deku and Bakugo, they get a bit of a rivalry stare, and they're like, oh boy, I can't wait for this. Because it's been 10 months of training, they've been kind of rivals throughout their childhood, bitter rivals. They've kind of started growing a bond with each other at the moment, but at this point in time, Bakugo and Deku just want to see who's better, so that's pretty cool. But all that will have to be resolved in the next part. Who will win? Who will lose? Find out next time, and the next part of What If Deku had Gambit powers. Alright, so that was a pretty interesting part to make. I had to re-record this audio a couple times because I didn't like how the sound appeared. Sorry, I kind of burped. But it's like I feel like I did not want to give you guys lackluster audio. I wanted it to sound more louder, but a little bit more clearer and a little less, bad. So because usually one of the things I put a lot of pride in is audio, which is why I'm probably gonna get a new mic soon. So and if you guys have any recommendations besides a blue snowball, which I've heard about, I would probably leave them down in the comments below. But it has to be at least somewhat affordable for me, but it has to be also good quality. So that should be pretty cool. So when I get a new mic, that will be a great day. So also remember, video likes is a like goal, and again, you get all these nice perks next week. So hopefully that can be nice. And I guess that's all I have to say at the moment. Oh yeah, one more thing. Yeah, What If Naruto the Tentagon coming on Friday. As a reminder, make sure to check out the newest video I made earlier today. So yeah, which was Pokemon Anime Rewrite. If you like that, if you like Pokemon and rewrites, I highly recommend watching that. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Friday. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications. Make sure you share the video. We're getting very close to 1,000 subs. We're only 12 away from 900, and if we can reach there, I'll be really happy. So, so let's get there, and let's get to 1K subs. This has been your boy, Sage. Sign out. Peace. Bye. Your hot.